welcome to Home Safari Facebook Live. This is Lynn, one of our red pandas. She's 7 years old, and we are hanging out with her and her baby Lucas here, and he is 7 months old. And so, like I said, these guys are red pandas. They're found in the Himalayan mountain regions. They love this cold weather we're having right now. They're from areas where it's nice and cold, so they have certain adaptations that kind of help with that. If you look at their fur, they have nice thick fur that keeps them warm, along with those really thick tails that they kind of use to wrap around themselves as basically scarves. They also have, you can kind of see Lucas, in the bottom of his paw is covered in hair. So the bottom of his paw there also kind of acts as like a snowshoe for him. There you go. This is Lynn here. Oh.
Hey everybody, my name's Paul. It's really great if you guys have questions. I think you can type them in. It's always does better that we can answer questions that you guys are interested rather than just mindlessly talking. Ellie gave you a little bit of background on these guys. When they're not in human care in the wild, these guys are right in their breeding time right now. Lynn has given birth and raised 5 litters, I believe. A normal number of babies in a litter can be between 1 and 3 is the normal, usually 1 and 2. 4 is possible, but it's very rare. We've had over 100 babies born here at Cincinnati Zoo over about 30 or 35 years. They go out to other zoos when they grow up. They're part of an SSP, a species survival plan that helps to distribute these animals and pair up the youngsters with the best genetic mate so they produce the best genetic offspring.
Ready for some questions?
Yeah.
Chelsea wants to know, how much can he eat?
Ooh, I like that.
How much can he eat?
Isn't it?
Normally, they eat just bamboo in the wild, and they say they can eat upwards of 20,000 leaves a day. But they also, when it's possible, they'll eat birds or bird eggs or really anything that they can catch. So a lot of bamboo. Right now they're eating apples. They really like the sweet taste of apples and bananas.
Aaron wants to know, are they endangered?
Yes, they are endangered. There's actually, fewer than 2,500 left in the wild. So these guys, yeah, are endangered. It's pet trade and loss of habitat's a huge problem for these guys here.
Donna wants to know, are they normally friendly?
They are habituated to us because they've been in human care and in zoos. In the wild, no. They are very good at climbing trees and evading people or animals that might do them harm. Here they're really interested in the banana or the apple that we're giving them. Once the apple is gone, they tend to wander off and don't want to have a whole lot to do with them.
Courtney wants to know, are they hairless and blind when they're born?
So,
Me?
yeah, you take it.
No, the easy answer is no. When they're born, they're about the size of a hamster. They have hair. Coloring is more kind of a whitish or a cream color, and they might just have the beginnings of their markings. But then as they grow, as the mother nurses them, they're in a nest box or a tree cavity. They get their more brilliant colors when they're about 6 to 8 weeks old. They're starting to really get their adult or natural coloring.
Bradley wants to know, how soft are they?
You want to?
Sure, yeah, these guys are pretty soft. Like I said, we don't touch them a lot, but yeah, they have that really thick, soft fur that, like I said, helps keep them warm and insulated. So yeah, they're pretty soft.
Christina wants to know, what's your favorite part about working with them?
Mine is having the babies, and they're not. It's not exciting. Well, it is exciting when you find newborns in a nest box, but it's really great when they're like coming out of the nest box and they're cute and they're not sure about the people around them. So I guess the easy answer is having the babies. I've been doing this a long time, so I really like all aspects. The breeding and bringing animals in, knowing they're going to breed, the anticipation of babies. I like to watch them eat the bamboo. Even though I see them every day, I could sit here and watch them eat that bamboo all day long.
Hi, Mama.
Sarah wants to know, how old can they live?
These guys can live to be, what, mid-teens?
Mid-teens. We had a female here that was 17 years old. In the wild, I just read this, about 8 to 10 years is a good long life in the wild. In human care or in human care, they'll live into their teens or even late teens.
Sam wants to know, do they build nests in the wild to have their babies?
They actually do, yeah. And it's a really cool thing too. You'll see Lynn when she kind of is getting ready to give birth. She'll start collecting things from outside and start building them in her nest box. So we'll find like twigs and pieces of bamboo, sticks, things like that she kind of will put in her box she already has in there. So yes, they definitely do that in the wild. That's how they have their babies.
Pam wants to know, do they get a heavier coat in the winter?
Not really. They do a little bit of a shed period in the spring, but you'll pick up their shed hair a little bit. But this is about normal. This is about what they look like all the time.
Sunday asked, is there a purpose for the rings on their tail? You know?
It's mostly everything about their color is about camouflage. So when they're up in the trees, they curl up and they look a lot like a moss that is common in their home countries, their home forest, and they look a lot like this moss that's hanging in the tree. Also, their tail, like Ellie had said, helps to keep them warm. They wrap that tail around their nose, and it helps to keep them warm. But mostly, it's just about camouflage.
Paula asked, do they make any sounds?
So these guys do make some sounds. They're not super vocal, but they do something called a huff quack. It's kind of like a pretty intense, I don't even know how to describe it. What is it, Paul? How would you describe it? Like a...
It's kind of a bark or a growl with it's a growl or a bark. And I think it's designed to take other animals by surprise, to give them that little extra second or two to make it to a tree and dash up a tree, because it does take you by surprise.
It does. It's very loud.
Surprise you.
Abraham asked, do they hibernate in the winter?
So they don't hibernate in the winter. They do they can slow these guys if it's really cold. They can kind of go into a torpor, which is like, they'll kind of hang up in trees and curl up really tight, and it kind of slows their metabolism down. And it only revs up when, they go out searching for food, but these guys can go into kind of like a deep sleep when they want to keep warm.
And Kathy, this is the last question. Kathy wants to know, are they related to giant pandas?
No. This is a long answer, so I'll do the best I can. For years, scientists tried to lump these animals in with giant pandas or with bears or with raccoon, and those different families. But in the last 5 years or so, they have put these animals in a family all themselves. So they have enough unique characteristics that they're not like other animals. So they're in a family by themselves. They do have adaptations, like the way Lucas is gripping that bamboo branch. There's an extra bone in their thumb that allows them to use that as a hand. The giant panda has it too, but that's about as much as of the unique, or the way they're alike. That's about the only way. So they, and even more recently, they are saying that these animals are two different species. So with the red pandas, there was always a subspecies. These are the styans, or the styani, S-T-Y-A-N-I. And the fulgens are a little bit smaller and they have a lighter face. But now they're thinking that these are two different full species. They look alike, they act alike. There's just a little bit of difference in their size and their color and their geographic location, where they're from. How about that? So thanks for joining us here today. Come out to the zoo and see the red pandas. They're out every day, cold or not.
Yep.